agree, and I'll get them ordered so we can have them next week for the bus trains. Okay.
And then we'll divide some of the jobs. So
Yeah.
if I do recording, then we'll have to have someone do camera and make it easier instead of me doing too much back and forth.
Okay.
But it's recording, so we're good.
Shows how to use it too.
And recording starts now.
All right, welcome to Nerds and Nonsense, episode number 3. This is our first time being on camera, so here we are giving it a trial run. I'm Adam.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Kamar.
I'm Randy.
Welcome, welcome. So the first topic today is going to be pet peeves, and I'll kick it off. So I have so many pet peeves in regards to driving in general, but I guess the first one would be turn signals. People don't use them, man.
They don't.
I don't understand. It's there. It's easy. It's accessible, and
Requires self-control.
yeah. So it's just they're not utilized. I don't understand, and they're there for a reason, you know. So how about you? What are some of you guys'?
Personally, I just don't like it when I pull up next to somebody and you can clearly see them using their phone. It's it's like that's just cause problems. You know, if you have to do something with your phone, just pull over. That's all it takes. Okay. I don't want to risk an accident because you had some killer text that you got.
Right. Sometimes they're sexting really hard. They're on their way. I'm
Yeah.
5 minutes away. Oh my gosh, I'm going off.
You got to read those texts just to stay hard.
I think everybody's in a rush to get to where they're at. You know, things. I think with more as technology evolves, that everyone is just relying more on it. I mean, the signal is there, but I guess no, I don't even turn. I just look.
Yeah.
You know, they just go swerve over there.
Yeah.
And people, miss turn lanes a lot. I've seen that a lot too. They're in the lane and they think they're in that lane and they just take a quick turn and
Oh.
They're in the straight
Oh,
lane,
yeah,
make a
that's
turn.
good.
That's
Yeah,
like,
so I think
There's so
it's-
many in driving.
like I said, they're gonna put more stuff in cars, more stuff in phones. It's just gonna make it so people rely on it more than anything. They're impatient. They can't wait. We have to get there as fast as we can. I have to get this text in as fast as I can. I have to.
Yeah.
Watch the video before I'm at the stoplight, so it's, as technology evolves, more and more people are just going to be less aware of their surroundings, so that's why they're just going to not use those things, of course.
Yeah. I think for me, like I think traffic's always because everything ever wrong in our lives is on the road. For me, I think when I'm in the slow lane, because I already hate driving as it is because of all these pet peeves. When I see someone speed up around me to go in front of me, and then they go all the way to like the fast lane, and then once I pass, they come all the way back to get their exit. I'm just like, what can be going on in your life where you can't even like know where you're going to drive in a straight line? That you have to be impatient with the person in front of you to tailgate them, to go to the wrong place in the first place, to come back like, with cocaine? Is it cocaine? Maybe it's cocaine. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I've never had it, so I don't know that.
To your point, I think.
But you have to be drugged out.
Yeah, can we get some cocaine so I can test this theory?
I'd imagine Charlie Sheen going or something,
I see. From what you're saying, I understand what you're talking about, and I think it's like something that happens a lot. It's almost like people don't know where their exit is, even though most people are using, their phone to navigate. And it's like, if you know in like a mile your exit's coming up, why are you in the fast lane still?
Right. Like,
Like,
within,
when you
like-
shoot over at the end.
You gotta cross 5 lanes to get to your exit. Oh, there's my exit.
Or they're distracted something on their phone or something, they're not paying attention because they're relying on the technology too much. Like, they'll tell me when to turn, right? Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
in 1 mile, you should probably merge over to the other lane real quick, So.
Yeah.
This is, it makes no sense.
Just kind of get in position and understand where you're going, like, whether it's by mileage or time. I know, like, in 2 minutes I'm going to kind of be near where I need to be.
Yeah.
Like, okay, drive accordingly. You know what I mean?
And for me, if I miss my exit, I'll go to the next exit.
Yeah, I mean-
And I'll come back around. Yeah, it takes longer, but I should have known where I was going.
Someone risks an accident, and it's like you messed up. Just deal with it. Go to the next exit.
Right.
Too bad.
Right.
Sorry.
Like, I don't care about these people. I might flip my car.
Yeah.
I might create a collision. But hey, I got to where I was going a little faster.
How much of this is caused by, an issue we have here in San Diego with overpopulation? It's like there's just too many people on the road.
It's a tourist town. Honestly, like when I work downtown, it would drive me crazy. Because just like, Personally, with pedestrians, people are in such a rush they can't even stop to use the pedestrian sign. I'm just like, you have to cross in front of me.
They're having
like
to
you're
because
here on
there's a
vacation.
scary bum peeing on the corner.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's a homeless guy over there. I have to run for your life. What? You know.
I think what you're saying is like there's so many different people from all around the world, all around the country. So as diverse as the food here, that's what you're getting with the driving skills and where they come from.
Las
Like
Vegas driver, Tijuana driver.
Right.
You know.
You see, when you get the driver's
Bad
test,
man.
all you do is just pass the test, and then after that, pretty much you don't have to renew anything. You just show them that you're capable of driving, and that's enough, right? There's no follow-up test or saying like, are you paying attention to the speed limit here? Make sure you're not merging. You do the bare minimum to get the driver's test, and that's it, right? And then once people get it, people think like, oh, I'm the best driver ever, right? So therefore, I can ignore using signal because I already have a driver's license unless they get caught or something. So therefore, they're just like, oh yeah, because I guess with the use of money, there's no follow-up of like, you have to pay attention and be aware of it because there's no reinforcement. Only if you get caught by the police, of course.
Right.
Hey, you didn't
Yeah.
use your turn signal, or you crossed a bunch of the lanes, therefore people will be reprimanded after that. But other than that, everyone's just gonna, because there's more people than cops, of course, everyone's just gonna drive their own kind of way.
But it's crazy, even cyclists do the same thing. Like for me,
Oh.
cyclists really get on my nerves.
Oh, you mean speed bumps?
Because that's what they want to be sometimes. I don't know why. I'm like, don't you care about your life? So for me, like when I rode my bike everywhere, if there were like a lot of traffic issues going on, I would literally like get to the side, let it clear, get back out. I have people who I see on a bicycle trying to compete with my car. Like there's a bunch of cars here, the light's not even like the light for you to keep on going, or if you are, you know, they're not following any of the traffic rules. And then there's like this attitude like, you don't know how to drive, like you're trying to die on a bike, that's what's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not just the cyclists, it's also the people on the scooters.
Oh, the scooters.
And they just deserve to die.
Scooters are the worst.
You
It's like
see
talk
them.
about people who need tickets for people on scooters.
Yeah, the cyclists are annoying because they want all the benefits of being on a bike, but all the benefits of being a car. So it's like
Right.
you got to pick one, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Cyclists and motorcycle riders. Like they're both.
But in a lot of places in the city, there are bike lanes for them.
That
You
drives
gotta-
me crazy when there's a bike lane right there and they're not in it.
they're on the street or they're on the sidewalk. It's like, all right, if you're an adult and you're riding your bike on the sidewalk, like I'm gonna clothesline you like Lex Luger.
Yeah,
'cause you
I
shouldn't
hate
be there.
walking on the
Like
sidewalk.
if you're an adult, like risk death and be on the cycle. Like you should. Don't be. You're not 7 years old on the sidewalk, right?
Yeah.
So be a man. Take your death. It is what it is.
So what if she's a girl?
Same thing.
She gets equal opportunity. I'm not going to give her special treatment because
I
she's a
think
woman.
with
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't in this day and age.
evolving
They
of
became trans,
technology,
become a man,
this is
such a
like,
great man to be on.
we kind of, there's more, things that come out that the streets are not, ready, and it's in the freeways are equipped with all the technology that, that comes along with it, so people, it's just, technology's evolved more faster than our roads and stuff like that too, and people just kind of take advantage of it.
People's minds haven't evolved. They're
Yeah.
distracted by any and everything. Like, ooh, a butterfly. Like now it's like 70 different options and apps, like either built into your car or
Yeah.
like Tesla's giant computer screen, and it's
Yeah,
just
like I said, it's just like,
Get the guns
it's
out.
just, there's too much technology right there, and it's gonna keep us distracted, the lights and everything, the screen, everything like that, it's gonna be like, we're relying on it, that when I have some put on screens for the kids to watch something there, it's more noise, it's just like a lot of things being generated inside.
You know a good
people.
term? Moth brain. People have moth brain.
yeah.
It's shiny and flickering. They're going towards it, even if it might be their death. They're like, I'm going to go towards it anyway.
That brings up like a whole host of things. Like as time goes on and more people are driving, more technology in the vehicles, driving is going to be more dangerous and more dangerous to the point where are self-driving cars actually safer? Because like at a certain point, like a human driving a car is going to be way worse than car driving itself, I think.
I had a friend actually who, like, from like the gym and fitness who died. It was around like I want to say last year, and it was crazy because he was working in his office and some drunken 60-year-old guy ran his car into the office and killed him. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Right? So it's just,
Was-
that's how random things are. You don't have to be doing anything to be a victim of like someone doing something shitty.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that, your friend was in a self-driving car and it still crashed.
No.
Like maybe the self-driving car was
I saw a
suicidal.
commercial on that recently. Yeah, there's definitely some issues with self-driving
You
cars.
get the Michael
Or
Scott.
or
edition
maybe the
where-
old man's car was drunk.
Yeah, Yeah, I know if that stood up in court.
So anybody else have any other pet peeves that they want to talk about?
Randy, you didn't bring up one on your own,
I know.
or you just...
You followed up, like we all kind of followed up on Adam's traffic stuff, but
Well, he mentioned, like, you made good points about the
Yeah.
but are there anything else for you, like any road traffic things? That just, or just anything?
People just primarily yielding at stop signs instead of stopping entirely. You know, there's people just not inclined to follow the
it's kind of rolling
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, stop,
yeah.
yield kind of anything.
It's called a California rule.
You know, like I said, like
Don't talk about food. I'm hungry.
they're changing the roads and stuff too much. Like I guess there's near my house there's like roundabouts now.
Oh, yeah.
And people don't know, they just kind of speed right through them, and then they just kind of like not yield, and there's our accidents waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I said, like, they're just evolving, they don't put signs or tutorials or say, hey, this is here. People just assume they're just going to drive around, I don't have to stop or I have to yield or be more careful, so therefore it leads to more accidents, right? So it's
People
like-
don't know the rules of the road and who has the right of way in certain situations.
Yeah,
Like,
so,
you know, whether it's a green light and, like, if you have a green light arrow, that means you go. If it's a green
Right.
light, the person going through straight
Yeah.
has the right of way, and if
You
you're
have to
turning left or right,
You have to
you
yield.
have to yield.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
people don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
I get annoyed when I'm sitting at a turn where there's this, it says no turn on red.
Oh,
Like
right.
a right turn, no turn on red.
Right.
And you get someone behind you honking at you,
Oh, that's the worst.
and it's like,
Yeah.
I can't turn.
I'll say Harbor Drive has that. Like when you're connecting from like
kind of
Market
look
Street to Harbor
outside,
Drive.
point at the sign, like, hey, what's that say right there? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
I've been in like almost so many like potential accidents. Like one the other day, like you know the lights, like whether it's in the evening or in the morning when you have the lights to get onto the freeway, like you have to stop before you enter the freeway because there's a light. Like 2 cars generally go. So like it's a red light. It's it's what is it 5:30 in the morning. So it's a red light, and I'm coming to a stop, and I see the SUV behind me is still going at least 45 miles an hour. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I dropped it down to second gear and just went through the red light because I'm not gonna get smashed.
Yeah.
They feel like they're entitled to make
I
it
don't
turn that
trust
way.
trucks and SUV drivers. Like, I think like they have such a power thing when they're in their car that like, gosh, like
They bought those vehicles
they
for the
have their-
safety of themselves.
right.
Yeah.
They have their lights on. They're usually their brights on for no reason. One of the indicators I can tell some people are speeding when I'm on the road is that they have their brights on. Because you only go as fast as you can see. If you have to see that much better, you're probably going way too fast.
Yeah,
Don't
bigger
use
trucks,
brakes.
SUVs
Right.
have more blind spots, so
Yeah.
because they have to be more safer, but sometimes they're more reckless when it comes to
Yeah.
driving. So, and when I'm next to one, I always tend to move to the other side,
Yeah.
especially big rig, because I just have that fear of them swerving around.
It's funny because big rigs I find are like when you're like on like long road trips, big rigs are kind of like the big mama whale that kind of takes care of everybody because like you get behind it, you gotta steady speed and like it's gonna
Yeah.
drive pretty safe.
If there's a drunk driver, it'll just nudge them off the road.
Right, you're just like okay, behind the big mama truck. But I think like the SUVs, I remember I was driving the Lincoln years ago, and like especially you get to East County drivers, oh they're horrible with their huge ass trucks.
Yeah.
And
Temecula's bad too.
oh, there's a couple of times where like you had one change in lanes, didn't even see me there. I'm like, there's a huge Lincoln. How are you gonna miss that, right? Then I had like another one where it was like some fender bender, like it was over in Harbor Drive, where this lady in this huge big black like SUV like nudged me. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, yada yada. I'm like, how do you not see me? I'm right here. You know.
Well, that's another thing too, is people like, whether it's on the freeway or if you're in like a 3 or 4 lane street near Mesa Boulevard or something, like people like to drive in clusters. I don't want
Right.
anyone beside
Right.
me, like where I'm in their blind spot or they're in mine.
That's the number one no is driving.
I don't understand, like people love to do it on the freeway, like you
Yeah.
see these chunks of traffic
Right.
and like, okay, I'm gonna like speed to go around that. If I get pulled over, it's like, well, I would rather not get killed in a cluster and I'll take a
Right.
ticket, that's cool.
I remember like was it junior year of high school, drive right manuals, the drive right, that was the name of the textbook in the class. I remember like our instructor, he had like some weird name like Earhart or something like that. And there was a thing in there that says stay out of the wolf pack. It's like number one thing. The wolf pack is when you have a car on all of your sides or any of your sides, you want to make sure you drive in a way that there's nothing around your sides. So for me, I've always driven to protect my cushion. I want to have cushion on all sides, so if anybody swerves or anything, I have room to maneuver. Like when people tailgate, I'm just like, I could brake right now and I'll
Yeah.
be screwed. Or someone in the headbus could brake, and then you have like the pile-up collisions. Like when she was in one of those because some other young lady didn't know how to drive. And then, But I think I really got my training in Japan because when I had to drive on the other side of the road and then they're adjusted so hard, you have like, I had 2 instructors. You had one in the front seat next to you, one in the back seat next to you, and they're both grading you. I think I cried. I definitely cried a couple times during that. Failed 3 times. So, yeah.
That would be unique driving on the other side of the road. I've seen that with like right-hand drive cars where it's like manual, like, I don't know, it's a whole nother level of skill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something else. So, I can't drive a stick, but I can drive on the other side.
Let's see, what else? I hate when people are driving, so like when there's like a fine line, right? Like when, I think the standard speed limit in California is like 70, right? Like if you're going 65, like you definitely have to be in the slow lane.
Right.
If you're going 70, still most people think this asshole's going slow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
But then you have the people that are going like 55, which you think you're being safe, actually you're not, you're a moving speed bump. So it's like, just find that fine line where it's like, you know, which lane do you want to be in? Like the fast lane, you have to be going like at least 75.
Yeah.
The second lane, 73. Third lane, 70.
Yeah.
Slow lane, 65. That's kind of how I.
Some people don't understand that, and they'll just go their pace in whatever lane they feel like being in.
Yeah. And you also have to keep in mind the average driver does 80.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
like, for me, like, it drives me crazy. So I really feel like I'm regulating when I'm on the road. Like, I know someone's gonna be annoyed. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make you drive around me.
Yeah, if someone's tailgating me, which is like a huge pet peeve, like I always try to drive like I'm saying, there's a lane and it kind of has a speed limit of its own, in my opinion. So whatever lane I'm in, if like I'm in the second lane and I'm going 75, that's plenty. If you're tailgating me, especially when the fast lane's open, I'm gonna try to find a situation where like you get trapped where you are, because I'm gonna stay or slow my speed.
Right.
I'm gonna make sure if you want to go on either side that you get trapped and
Right.
you're inconvenienced for like pissing me off.
Right. And it's and that's the tricky thing, like the whole idea of a fast lane. Some freeways are different. So like if you're on the 94 also turns into the 805 north, I think. Is it 805 or 115? It turns to the 115. So there's one side of it where you need to slow down to get onto that one. Yeah, because it turns to the 15 north and south on the opposite side of it. So to a degree on both of those sides, you get to a section where it kind of needs to be 65 on both sides if you don't want to die when you get into like this off-turn ramp.
Yeah, like transferring to another freeway on the left-hand side is rare, but you do see it. It's in
Right, and when you have that, then like it means the rules are changed. And like the number one thing in like the DMV manual is like you drive for the conditions.
That you're in.
Drive for the conditions. So if there's a glare, there's a lot more cars. If there's weather, if the freeway structure is different, if there's construction, if someone's pulled over because like something happened to their car, like you have to drive for those conditions. What drives me crazy, especially like when someone's pulled over, people are still going batshit crazy. Like there's construction, and you're still going batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Like okay, you just killed somebody, you don't care because you're in a rush to go to your lane. You know?
I do that. That reminds me, I gotta clean the blood off my car.
Or if you know, like you see signs coming up that there's construction or whatever, and like, you know, it's on the left-hand side and people don't want to get over until like they start seeing the cones or whatever. It's like they don't see what's happening like, you know, 10 seconds in advance. They only see the bumper in front of them, and that's how they drive. It's like, I always see like what's happening. Like if the light in front of me is green, like, and I'm still a ways away, by the time I get to it, it's probably going to be red. So I'm going to start to slow down a little bit. Or like if I'm coming up to a light and people don't know the traffic pattern. So generally speaking, okay, a light changes. If it's a turn lane, a turn arrow, they usually turn first.
Right.
So the turn arrows go and then the straight lanes go, and that's how traffic works typically. Sometimes you have straight lanes go and then turn lanes last. But so anyways, like if you don't know how that goes, like you're gonna mess your brakes, you're gonna ride your brakes.
Right.
And you see that all the time where someone's like going to a red light, like they're in the Fast and Furious. Like it's like,
Just slow down.
what are you doing?
Slow
Like
down.
clearly you don't maintenance your vehicle because you don't have to deal with the shit that you're causing to it like right now.
I got another one that I just thought of. I drive down Convoy Street a lot because it's on my way to work.
And it's delicious.
And there's so many, like, you know, places to eat there. This happens a lot. I get caught behind someone who pulls out of a restaurant, like they just kind of pull out in front of me, and I'm okay with that. But then they will cause me to miss the light, and then I'm wishing death on them at the red light.
Yeah.
It's like, I would have made it if you hadn't pulled out in front of me,
Right.
or if they pull out in front of you and then they go slower than you were
Oh,
going.
yeah. That's the worst. Like, when you're courteous to someone else.
Oh,
and
please,
then
pull out in front of me, and then they want to go 20 when it's like
Oh,
35
right.
and you're just losing
Right.
your mind behind the wheel.
Yeah, courtesy when it's taken advantage of is just like the worst. Like, why was I nice to you?
I hate that
It's
too.
me.
Like when someone pulls out in front of you, but like you look in your rear view and no one's behind you. It's like you could have waited literally 1 second,
Right?
but you impeded my progress, and now I'm pissed off for no reason.
You
Like,
could just have been patient, right?
I
The
don't
thing
get it.
is, though, in a lot of places around here, you get that issue where it's street parking blocks your line of sight, so you can't see what's coming around the corner.
Yeah.
And it's like if a car's coming by like fast enough and you're pulling out, there's no way.
Definitely in San Diego, the quality of the streets is probably my biggest pet peeve.
Mhm.
They're badly lit, they haven't been resurfaced,
Yeah,
they have like parking in the wrong places.
yeah. The potholes are like definitely an epidemic. Like, you know, if you know, like, if you kind of take the same streets all the time, you kind of know where they are. So that means like if it rained like that day, that morning, the other day, like that pothole that was this big is now this big. So yeah, especially like Balboa is horrible.
Oh,
I think I fell into a hole on Claremont Mesa Boulevard.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're like sinkholes.
It's always gonna be like that because we're a touristy city, you know. It's gonna
Yeah.
be your locals that are here and then people that don't know the roads. So you have your
Yeah.
mixture of slow drivers, fast drivers, people, you know,
But
more
you-
confined areas, kind of like
I blame engineers
narrowing.
though.
Yeah, narrowing. Like when you see that whole area convoy, right? It's just kind of narrow streets and limited parking. So yeah, people are trying to rush to get out. They want to hurry up and get a parking spot right away. They want to hurry up and cut people off or something, you know. Not deliberately, of course, you know, but you know, it's just people are just in a rush and then they fail to notice their surroundings by like a certain turn here or there or yield there, you know. So.
I think convoys are our closest thing to LA. Well,
I mean, there's definitely reasons why the roads are so shitty. So like they're driven on frequently.
yeah.
It's constantly sunny, so that's like beating down all the time. And then you have the fact that it seems that the streets are made out of fucking graphite. So,
Right.
like as soon as it rains, like
Yeah.
things are like disintegrating.
My opinion is that it's an engineering problem. We have like smart engineers, but they still keep on using like the same old crappy material when, you know, there are other places in the world where they're starting to use plastic and things like that to make sure it's like more durable.
You got to understand we're we're over the San Andreas Fault, so there's constantly shifting.
And shifting.
So that like okay, I get it. It's you know
Find a different material that works for these conditions.
yeah.
I think that the people in charge more are reactionary kind of
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
They're not going to fix it. Oh, there's something wrong. They're going to wait for someone to point out something that's wrong with the road or you know a hazard. Then they'll fix it. They're not going to go around checking, even though that you know
Right.
our taxes pay for them and
Right.
everything.
I honestly think we should be paid. I think every single time we have an issue with our car on the road, there should be some sort of reimbursement because we're paying taxes for them to do a good job.
Send the bill to the government.
Right.
The
I
tires,
think,
suspension,
Yeah.
like
My new rims,
yeah, right.
my
For
stereo
all wear
system.
and tear, there should be some sort of like,
Because-
you know,
That pothole broke my stereo.
fine that the city gets for like, you know,
maybe you could speak to this. So like I've seen things on the internet where like you know the same issues are on the road, you know, and you see like memes or whatever where it's like 5 years in the same potholes, same situations,
yeah,
and like there's a earthquake or something happens in Japan. And
yeah.
it's always Japan where like literally you'll see what happened on, you know, August 1st and then
Yeah.
August 4th, like it's completely fixed and
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
perfect. It's like, is that actually true? Did
It's-
they work that fast?
The construction is like so quickly done over there, it's insane. It's just, you know, people develop and fix things. It's just, I think it's the mentality. Like I think one of the peeves I was talking about earlier this morning was like, even like, when you operate a business or like if you're at work or places, like you find people don't ever put anything back. Like it's just like, we have this really horrible habit in the United States where people just, they know what they want, they need, and they don't care like how it affects anybody else on the way getting there. And then when you do say something, there's like, why are you being so high strung about yada yada? But like literally, when you look at construction development, like, you know, looking at like Japanese construction development, like, gosh, the improvement, like when you go to bed, like people are working at night to get things done. Like on occasion, when you're on the freeway, you'll be seeing like some sort of construction going on. But like, it's like, I don't know. I think it's also how they operate businesses here. Like, but they probably want to have workers working overnight to do things because you have to pay them or something like the whole hourly
Shifting furniture. Or
Right.
whatever.
But like I think over there, everyone, they know they're gonna work. They count on working, and you know, I think for construction, I don't know. They're just more disciplined, and everyone sees the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Here, I think people, especially who are higher ups in companies, they get their paycheck and then they don't give any shits after it.
It's kind of like, let it be someone else's problem. Oh, it could be mine, but I'm gonna only be here for a little
Right.
longer, and I'm gonna go, you know, why can't somebody else take care of it?
Right.
You know, it's kind of like that mentality. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, and then when it brings up, becomes a big issue, oh yeah, we're working on it now, because therefore a lot more people brought it to our attention, then we'll decide to fix it, right? But if
Right.
not, we'll just kind of brush it
Right.
off. It's, that pothole, it doesn't seem to get any bigger.
Right.
That stop sign, that four-way intersection that needs a stop sign, no one got hurt in there, you know? It's
Right.
just, it's like, it's a reactive kind of process, not a proactive kind of process.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is like people are so stuck on like their old traditional things. Like I said, the formula for the road, like who puts together like this crappy asphalt? It's like the most asinine asphalt, you know, formula in the world. Because, you know, it's a hot place, it's a dry place, why are you still using the same formula, right? And I think like in India they have some sort of where they're actually putting plastics in it so it kind of it holds together because it's freaking hot and dry
Yeah.
over there, right? But even like when I look at like the construction materials, like I'm sure people still go to like I want to say I'm not saying Tonka, but like Caterpillar and all these other companies. When I think maybe if they looked at some other international approaches, like use Komatsu for like their equipment, or like some other Japanese brands that are more movable and like more effective. Yeah, it might cost a bit more, but it might last a whole lot longer too. You know, people are used to buying Japanese cars, but why don't you buy Japanese construction equipment? 'Cause God knows they do a better job of construction than we ever do here.
We're kind of looked at as, oh, we're our own thing, and then Japan's our own
America's
thing.
the best.
Yeah, right, we're the best at this, and we don't need to. It's
You're like,
gonna be
what?
unfortunate, but it's gonna have to be more accidents, more
Yeah.
people not paying attention in order for big things to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because right now, there could be minor, they're so, you know, not an issue, right? But as long as there's police out there enforcing things and people, it's kind of a
Right.
controlled kind of thing, right?
Right.
But
They-
if there's like
Yeah.
a bridge collapses or something,
Right.
there's like 10 pile up every day or
Right.
something, then they'll start to notice more. But right now, it's something the police can handle. It's just a minor, oh, you know, we have some people that
Yeah.
can probably fix that pothole. Just small little things here and there, right?
Yeah, I think there's enough that they can like shut up the general population about it with our complaints and like making it out of their ear, then they're satisfied. I feel.
I was coming down here from the 15, using the 163, and I saw a sign, like an orange sign that said California tax dollars at work. And like, you know, like they were doing construction or whatever. It said, rebuilding California, your tax dollars at work. And I just started laughing. I'm like, really?
But why does it take so long?
I think Caltrans is embezzlement at work. I think that's what Caltrans is.
Yeah, probably.
It's just a sign to make you think that, oh, it's reassuring. Oh, you're fixing this one part, but how about the other parts that need that
Right.
sign or that you're...
Right.
Well, they need to hurry up and get that job done because they got like 15,000 other ones behind it.
Like, the construction they do around my house, the streets, like, it's forever. Like, what are you guys doing here?
Like
what
Market
up?
Street's like everything like between like especially like Market Street, like leaving Gaslamp, like going into like, you know, was the University Heights, guys going towards the it was just all wrong. Like it's just like even like I think there was this correction on Market Street construction where they're kind of doing the whole thing with the new lanes. It's like between Euclid, I think, and Market around there. And the cones were out of this order where I'm just like, if I keep on going fast, I'm gonna bust up my car. It was the same thing over, I want to say, on University, going between like Hillcrest and North Park. You remember that stretch that's over there? And they kind of redid the center dividers, but all the cones were out of whack. It's like, yeah, you're improving the roads, but then you're making a hazard where like someone's gonna hit a pedestrian or like screw up their rims because it's not clearly a delineated.
You know, what's funny is how we started on pet peeves and we've gone into this whole thing about how bad the streets are in San Diego.
Yeah,
Well,
I think we
kinda-
need like
It's-
a whole dedication
It's like
just to
we
that.
could dedicate
Yeah.
an entire show just to
Yeah.
how bad San Diego roads are.
Yeah.
I have a fix, you know, as we're talking about this, and obviously there's a big homeless problem in San Diego.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are homeless that maybe don't want to be, that could be put to work
Right.
fixing.
I thought you were going to use the Randy Marsh idea of just turning them into tires.
I think the whole thing is
South
kind of
Park
like,
Solutions
if you
is
get
not
them
like
to
that.
work, though, that's a whole other
They do
issue
have some good
itself right
ideas.
there. You know, a lot of them want to be or choose to be homeless. They don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of mental issues and stuff going on, but I'm like, let's say there's 500,000 homeless people in San Diego. Let's say even 10,000 of those people actually want to work, and like, you know, you can train them, give them housing, and like, you know, from there, like.
Absolutely.
I agree. Like,
Yeah, it's a solution that's being used. I'm very surprised at why our city and our state doesn't really apply that with that population, that transient population that comes in. They probably could use work. Like I think I've definitely read in international news, there's other places in the world that do that.
Yeah.
And I think there was one point when I was working for the state of California, there's a report that came out that said that the city had like thousands of jobs that were not filled, that were just sitting there. And like, you know, we work with making sure like people with disabilities get a job, right? So we're just like, we're trying to figure out, well, if this is our job to get them jobs, like who's the person that we connect with at the city? And like, it was just like totally like inaccessible. Like you didn't know who to talk to about saying, hey, you could like hire this person and get like a subsidy from like the federal government because you're hiring someone with a disability, like, you know.
I think that's.
But every new person who gets in charge, they give themselves a huge ass raise.
Well, that's the problem with how we do things. Like I think in the corporate world or in the world in general, in business, is like when people have a position in a company or whatever they're doing, rarely are they ever focused on doing that job and doing it well. They're looking at the next rung to climb on. So it's like no one's ever present in their role. It's like they're always, well, I deserve this next, so I'm going to shoot for that. It's like, no, like be good at what you're supposed to be doing now, and if you do a good enough job, then you'll get promoted. But that's not how it works.
Yeah, people are just self-interest driven. It's pretty horrible.
I mean, I don't have a solution, but it's kind of like a plan. It's like I guess we're you know, branching off of you guys and homeless. Like there's a lot of empty buildings out there. You know,
Oh yeah.
donations, put cots, food that's being thrown away like that.
Yeah.
Reach out to people. It's not like forcing people. Like some people could look at it as like being slavery. No, if people volunteer, you can't force everybody to come. The people that want to, perhaps. You know, that you can have volunteers, you can have internships, open up jobs for people.
They give them some of the open jobs, and then it's like, in order for them to keep the housing, they have to show up for that job.
Show up, do your job. Like you'll get housing, you'll get food, you'll get assistance. You know, maybe to go back to school or learn a skill or trade, something like that. You don't get people off the streets. You'll get people off those highways. You know, push cars. Like it'll probably motivate others to maybe follow the same footsteps. I mean, it's kind of like a snowball effect.
Line up incentives.
Then you won't have people running out in the street in front of you in downtown because they're running from a homeless guy who's peeing on the sidewalk.
So it's also too like
which isn't anything to run from. But
you can also like say like, oh, there's a program helping out homeless people, and there's people that panhandling stuff. If you see them panhandling still, they're like, okay, I won't panhandle them because they don't want to help themselves, right? So you look at people that want to go help themselves, like those are the people that you want to help more than someone out on the streets, because like that person's not wanting to help themselves. Therefore, you know not to give them money or resources because they're not going to bother.
And there's a difference. Like you all know, like when I was bohemianizing it for those few months, like I worked at like a crappy tele-research place. And I did that job, and I kind of bohemianized it like in the gallery when I was supposed to, but I still busted my ass. So like it's you definitely, I know, like when I worked like with people with disabilities, we had some people who are homeless, and like you could tell the ones who were putting in effort. You also tell the ones who just kind of showed up and it was like, where's my transportation check? But then they wouldn't show up for job club or something like that. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So there's definitely a balance on those who do their effort and those who don't. And the funny thing is, when you look at like colleges, there's what people like to say the invisible homeless population. Those young kids who are in college, they're couch surfing. Maybe they had a broken home situation. There's a lot of homelessness that we don't see. Like we always have the stereotypical one on the street, but there's people out there who are like sleeping in their cars in between their classes. Yeah. And we don't even know it.
People who live in the motorhomes on streets in certain areas of the
city. Parking lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain people that you can't help that have like mental disorders, like where they don't want to take their meds, or like they just don't want to fix whatever situation.
Or some people just don't want to be on the grid.
There's a drug problem at the same time.
Absolutely. So like, if you give people opportunity and they want to better themselves, like these things that we're coming up with, then there's like the alternative, like this is completely a joke, but like the ooh piece of candy, ooh piece of candy, ooh piece of candy. Lure them to a boat, put them on it, kick that shit somewhere else. Do the Bill Burr skit where they sink it. And we take care of the homeless problem at
Sink
both
the,
ends.
sink the hobos.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously it's a huge issue. It's way beyond like anything that I know about, but we can kind of come up with like little things here that
Yeah.
it's like, why isn't this being done?
Yeah, I think I think because we have such a status-driven society, people all want to applaud Elon Musk and applaud like Jeff Bezos because they donate like that less than 1% of their income to support like the public. And at the same time there's so much momentum in what they've done. Like they're not earning all of that. They put something that was smart years ago. Now they're just getting all this credit for it. And then when you do like talk to people who are homeless or people who are struggling or people who are the lower rungs, like even me running a nonprofit, like the amount of times I have people tell me, "Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this?" Where I'm like literally doing 1,000% and more, not having anyone say, "Well, you're a successful business person. Let me contribute and help you." But if Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos has some sort of trivia thing they do, some sort of like marketing ploy that they do, everybody's on board for that. Like it's like you're actually going to get return when you help your small business or your local business or your mom and pop. Then hey, I got free tickets to this concert because I entered this contest that so and so was throwing, and I might get to meet them and get an autograph. So for me, like that classism thing, like it drives down those of us who are actually supporting the economy. Like this place here does work for the demographic that it supports more than, some stupid nightclub that's going to get all this buzz and all this support, and it really doesn't put out that much effort.
It's just kind of things that just overshadow other things that need to be taken care of.
It's status. People will sell out their friends for a popularity contest.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And like I know, because I do the work every day. I do the work every day. And like it takes people to realize, oh, you actually do operate a business. You actually do this on the other side. You actually are busy doing taxes. You actually came to the door and opened up for me to come inside to do this thing in here. Well, yeah. But even in here, like I have people who come in like, I'll tell them I own the place one year out the other, and then because they're still stuck in their ego lane.
I gotta be honest, I would sell all of you guys down the river for Elon Musk, because that's my chance to get to Mars.
I know you would, Amber Heard. It's okay.
Don't make me shit in your bed.
I always thought like donating money was like nice, but at the same time, like donating time is something that can actually evoke change. Like donating money is like cool, and you're like, cool, I did my part. You pat yourself on the back, it's over.
Yeah.
Whereas like donating your time and services to actually physically build a house or X, Y, and Z, it's like that's actual charity.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. But at the same time, like you could do that, but then if Elon Musk does it, he makes a newspaper, right? And that's what I've learned. I've donated my life and I've donated my money, but my name's gonna pop up in anything.
Yeah.
Like when you look at they always have like these like young black and in business things. Like I'm a black dude in San Diego doing like a shitload of things, but like because I'm not the one who's out there saying, well, I'm doing all these things. Look at my resume. Like no one recognizes it.
Yeah.
Because people who are there usually have some sort of self-serving thing to popularize themselves and put themselves out there, and those are the ones who get noticed. Those who actually put out the money and do the work, they just overlook, unless it's like a billionaire who puts in like a little bit of their chunk change. There's like, as long as you could put my name on the building,
Yeah.
And there's a balance. I think the key thing is the status thing.
Yeah, they want that forever stamp.
They want someone's name brand on it, and if it doesn't have a name brand on it, then they don't know how to appreciate
They
it.
have their dick imprint on history
Right.
somehow.
Right.
So before we move on to another topic, does anybody have any other pet peeves that we'd like to?
Any that aren't related to traffic and streets.
Non-traffic related.
I don't like people who bring all their kids to a store. Like when I walk through Walmart and there's a family with like
7 kids.
5 kids and they're all stretched out like side by side, and it's like you have to walk around
Oh,
the
that's the
entire.
worst. Oh,
It's like
yeah.
a kickoff in football.
And they're
where
working. And they're all moving so slow
Yeah.
because there's the small ones at the end.
Yeah, like people take the entire walkway. I feel like we're getting to pedestrian traffic. We've advanced. Oh, that drives me crazy though.
There's ones who still make their kids wear masks, but the adults don't. You do know COVID's going to affect you more than your kids, right?
Or like, kind of to your point, like unnecessarily bringing like people or whatever. It's like people that bring their dogs into like a Target or a Sprouts, where it's like, is that like a service dog? Did you need to bring that in, or are you
No.
just bringing it in for the pets that you're gonna get?
They have shopping
Now it's-
anxiety.
Now it's all over the blueberries and
Maybe
shit.
they buy less when the dog's there.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
going
know.
to kick those dogs. I swear, whenever I see some, especially, I see those women with their little cute dog that they put in the cart and they push it around, and it's just like sitting in their bag. But then you see the people who have like this like mangy like run, or it's like a I don't know, it's a mixed dog, and it's like, you know, stupid looking, and they're just walking it around the store. It's like a bigger dog, and they're walking it, and it's like sniffing at other people, and I've seen dogs pee on the floor in a store. It's
What?
like, murder that dog.
I've seen dog shit. Or like another one of my pet peeves, like since I take my kid for stroller walks, is when there's just like dog shit on the sidewalk. Like someone was walking their dog, they weren't prepared, they didn't pick up the poop, and now it's like clear that it's on the sidewalk or someone's already stepped on it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Like, go to a store and get a bag and come back and get it.
San Diego is like a very dog-friendly community, so like you see this a lot. Like wherever you go, where there's a lot of apartments or whatever, it's just like definitely a problem.
If I see someone whose dog poops on the sidewalk and they don't clean it up, I want to step in it on purpose and then boot them in the chest.
Just pick it up, put it on a microphone, do the Tom Green thing, start interviewing them. Like, why didn't you pick up the dog shit? Oh,
This is yours. Why didn't you pick it up?
cool.
Are you guys good with this topic? Okay.
Yeah, I think we've
Okay.
nailed the coffin down.
All right. Thanks for listening to our random.
All right.
Thanks for nerding out to our nonsense.
That's it for the pet peeves.
Thanks for hearing us rant.
Let's see. All right.
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
What she got, Randy?
That?
What she got?
Kara,
Let me show you something.
what are your pet peeves when there's not enough battery life?
When Daddy won't leave his podcast to come see what I did. Yay, another episode, like, on the books.
Pause the camera right now, come on.
Drop behind us.
Oh, yeah.
Press stop here.
You just press the record button and it'll stop.
That's what we need, is a giant backdrop of our logo. So that then we can get sued by Nintendo.
That's a nice logo.